Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Legends. Specifically, I want to talk about the Grand Prix monster, Koralle Brutalis, because before you even decide if your team or not wants to participate and how many laps you want to do in this Grand Prix, we have to decide whether or not the monster is worth it. So I'm going to do an analysis on the monster because Social Point has officially confirmed these are the stats and these are the skills. So Koralle Brutalis, life 44,335, and this is an earth monster. Thus, this is officially the tankiest earth monster, displacing Oros by over 4,000 points. And in the course of every single monster that's been released, this monster has the 5th tankiest life. First is Dunraw, then Sergeant Hawhead, Fatted, Soulhugger, and now Brutalis. For power we have 3432, and for speed 3355, which I don't really need to talk about too much considering this monster, well, like he's a tank, right? One-liner. His one-liner, the way Social Point describes him, he's a high life tank who can cast Megaton to protect his allies from area attacks, and he's an earth-based tank who can be found in the C book, which is interesting because there's only 3 monsters in the C book, and later we'll actually go into the books and see like how competitive he can be used. We'll talk about some team combinations. The very interesting thing about this monster, the first of its kind, he has the taunt trait. So from the very beginning, all single attacks will be directed towards him. Now, originally when I saw him on Taringa, I was thinking he might have had Mega Taunt as a trait, which would have been really great, because being in the C book where Kihaku's at, I was thinking, cool, this is like a way to attract all of the negative AoEs at you, you know, the possession and whatnot. But unfortunately, it won't necessarily work like that. However, having Taunt is very powerful because the enemy isn't going to be able to single OTK your Denier or maybe your weak monster, right? Yeah, an AoE will still deal damage to them, but not single target hits. So even if you're facing extra turn monsters, they're gonna have to go through Brutalis before they go to your other allies. Like a Voltic, yeah, the static shocks residual damage will go to your allies, but the 50k volt, the 20k volt, electrodynamic assault, that's all gonna go towards Brutalis. Same thing with the Charmless. Charmless is still a little dangerous though, because he can make you weak to nature attacks. But this taunt trait, it's the first of its kind, it's really interesting. And if anything, I think just that alone could be a reason to participate in this Grand Prix and go for this monster. But yeah, let's get into some more stuff. For Relics, he can hold double shield. And that is obviously just amazing for tanks. This monster needs as much life as possible. Being able to hold double shield, oh my goodness, if you have Hiroim's shield, I think that one can give you a huge shield and deal earth damage to the enemy attacker. If you have Tenacity shield, your whole team gets a shield. So very great relics for this monster. In terms of books, this monster can be found in the C book, the Families, and the Adventures book. And again, we'll talk about those towards the end of the video. So let's look at his tier 1 skills, his skills group 1 skills. Underwater Maelstrom deals moderate earth damage to an enemy, 50% chance of applying quicksand. That's nothing too special. The next skill deals moderate special damage to an enemy, 50% chance of applying damage reduction. 50%, once again, nothing special. Deals moderate special damage, 50% chance of applying stun. So skills group 1, not even worth using, okay? Not even worth. Let's talk about skills group 2. We have Underwater Sand Dune. Deals moderate earth damage to one enemy, applies quicksand to one enemy, applies daze to one enemy. Single damage attack that deals 35 damage, has 1 turn cooldown, and 2 effects. It applies a DOT, quicksand, and it dazes the enemy monster. Daze reduces damage output and accuracy by 25%, and quicksand will reduce the enemy HP by 15%. Alright, the next skill deals moderate earth damage to one enemy, applies damage reduction. The single damage reduction skill, that's rather meh. You know, it's just an extra 25%. That's it, right? I'd prefer the daze. So right now, Sand Dune is winning. And then we have Constricting Staghorn, 50% chance of applying stun to one enemy, deals moderate special damage to all enemies. Not a really great skill. So from skills group 2, it's going to be Sand Dune, and then you're probably going to want to run all of skills group 3. So we have Brutalis Barrier. Applies damage reduction to all enemies and applies Megaton to itself. This skill has a 2 turn cooldown and it costs 21 stamina. And as we all know, Megaton is the newly introduced effect. All attacks are completely directed towards you. Every single attack. AoEs and damage. All the AoE damage skills. Keep in mind that you will take triple damage, because normally your teammates would have gotten hit, so now you're taking all of that hits, okay? So that's worth keeping in mind. The next skill we have deals moderate earth damage to all enemies, applies quicksand and daze to all enemies. An area version of the skills group 2 skill, Sand Dune, which I really liked. So that's amazing. And then Elkhorn Ambush deals heavy earth damage, applies stun to enemies. We even have an AoE stun. And what I like about this AoE stun, it's not like your typical AoE stun. This is an AoE stun that deals 50 damage, has a 1 turn cooldown, and it has a 95% accuracy. Normally AoEs have a 90% accuracy, but this single targets, and then the effect is an AoE. So I love that. And considering it has a 1 turn cooldown, that's fine, because after you stun a monster, they become immune to stun. So Elkhorn Ambush, fantastic on this monster. The AoE Quicksand and Daze, fantastic. The Megaton, fantastic. Just keep in mind that this monster is slow. So if you were able to partner him up with someone who can turn transfer into this monster immediately, and you can apply that Megataunt, you'd be safe for a while. If this monster does get a turn in and you apply that Megataunt, well, your teammates are safe for a while, because it's going to be a while before this monster gets a turn in. And again, considering it's a team race, and some teams might give this monster rank 3, rank 4, his speed might be better than some of your other monsters, so everything will work out. So this tank, and even with Dunrod, the recently released Megataunt trait monster, what we see is that they're tanks, but they don't really have that much shielding. They don't have life regen like other tanks, right? Oros has a life regen. He can give himself double max life. We're not really seeing that with these tanks, but what we are seeing are more of negative effects. You know, the Daze reduces accuracy and damage output. Damage reduction, that's minus 25% damage output. Quicksand is a DLT, it's a way for him to deal damage, but what I like about this monster is the stun. So yeah, no real double life, none of that, but that's fine because it's all about the combinations you choose, right? The partners you pair this monster up with. Maybe pair this monster up with someone that can do a lot of healing. A Yamada, for example. Someone that can maybe give double life. Someone that can protect him somehow. Maybe if you have a monster that can apply evasion, well then, who comes to mind? I was just making a video with someone, Scotty Vera. Let's just use him for example. Scotty Vera can give one of your allies evasion. Well, you would essentially have this slow monster with evasion who can also attract all single target attacks. So the enemies are, like imagine a Charmless who only has single target attacks. Like, okay, let's say I run Brutalis. Let's say I keep him at level 4, because that's like a little meme ever since I made my level 4 Elvira video. If I partner Brutalis with Elvira, and Brutalis has taunt, Brutalis has evasion from the very start of the battle, okay? From the very start of the battle he has evasion, and he has the taunt trait, all the single target attacks are going to be going to Brutalis. And if the enemy doesn't have any skill that can remove positive effects, I'm not gonna, like, nothing's gonna happen. Charmless is useless, okay? So it's very funny. Like, if players get this monster at rank 4, you could probably get away with using him at level 4. So that's gonna be fun to use, right? His ultimate attack is 100% heal and removes all negative effects from itself, applies Megataunt to itself. I wish it would remove negative effects first and then heal, especially because there is negative healing, so which would essentially be an OTK for your whole entire team, right? Because you would lose 100% of your life. So they should maybe make it so you can remove negative effects first and then heal by 100%. But I kind of wish it did more. Yeah, I like skills. When I look at skills, I'm like, it's really lacking. But that trait is just so interesting that I really look forward to seeing this monster and using him in battle. And the skills, again, they're nothing too flashy, nothing too amazing, but they're sufficient enough. So just based on his skill set, I would say the monster is, he doesn't stand out too much in my personal opinion. But again, it's not about the monster alone. It's about where this monster is actually used. He's an earth monster, he's a legendary monster, he's a sea monster, he's families, he's adventures, and he can hold double shield. So with that being said, let's actually go into the books and see how exactly he can be used. And so let's start off with the sea book. There he is, he's a little loading circle right there. He's going up against Eotrons, he's going up against Warmaster Thalassa, which will honestly still be trouble considering she can trait disable. Let's see, Emigbo, page number 6, we have Shork, we have Kihaku, Intiander, and Ipayasi. A lot of these, unfortunately, a lot of these sea monsters, they don't rely on single target skills, they rely on AoEs. We have Hydratilla, we have Thetis, that stamina devours, your whole team will still get stamina devours. You know, so the AoEs, again, it doesn't help. But the single target, like Shork as an attacker, Shork has a lot of strong single target attacks. He has like a 65 damage skill, a 60 damage skill. So your Brutalis would help against that. And keep in mind, you have a stun skill yourself. So if you do get a turn in, you can stun a lot of these monsters because a lot of them aren't immune to stun. Let's take a look at the other book we are in, and I believe it was, let's keep on scrolling, the Families book. So in the Families book, let's see, we have Sunblast, he has a lot of AoEs, Ragnarok, we have Foeman, Thalassa again. Dang, Thalassa is just following him around. There's that Charmless, so again, in the right combination, that Charmless, when you're in war, a lot of players rely on Charmless. So if you can have an Elvira Brutalis team against Charmless, that'll be so fun. Let's see, Shork is there again. We have Alcanine, Morton McBlood. He has a good amount of strong single target attacks. Igursis has a lot of strong single target attacks himself. Let's see what else we have. Galante, Violet. Again, the Deniers, unfortunately, they do have a lot of AoE skills. And Adventures, we have Taiga, Varuna, page number 2. There's that Charmless again. Page number 3. Dungeon Master, Ravish, lots of AoEs. Wolfgang, Furious Robin, Scotty Veta, Gregors. We have Taijin. We have Sting Westclaw, Beladig. We have Shade Moon. Shade Moon, I believe, has an AoE curse and then 2 strong single target attacks. So yeah, if anything, Koralle just really protects you against the single targets. But you know what's going to be an interesting combo? Brutalis Shade Moon. And the reason I say that is because Shade Moon, as you all know, has dodge area. So you don't take any hits from area skills, right? If the enemy does an AoE skill, it doesn't do anything to you. So you're still vulnerable to single target attacks. But if you have both of them in a team, well, that's going to be pretty interesting because the enemy isn't going to be able to touch your Shade Moon, at least while your status caster is still in effect. So that's a little nifty thing that can be done just with these 2 combination of monsters. So that's worth trying out. Your Shade Moon can be a 3 strength Shade Moon, to be honest. 3 strength Shade Moon with Brutalis to defend him, because you're protected from single target hits, and his own trait protects him from AoEs. So that's a deadly combination right there. And again, Elvira Brutalis, that's going to be a deadly combination. So yeah, guys, I think with that being said, that's going to conclude the analysis. This is Koralle Brutalis. I don't really like to tell you guys what to do, so with that being said, I want you guys to let me know, what do you think of this monster overall? Based on everything I said, based on his skills, his trait, the kind of combos I was starting to talk about, the books he's in, do you think this monster is worth getting? If so, are you going to get him unranked, rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4? Are you going for the Grand Prix and getting most laps out of all the teams that play Monster Legends? Whatever you guys' thoughts are, if you can think of any team combinations, what do you think about the Elvira level 4 Brutalis combo? Any thoughts you may have at all about this team race monster, if it'll help other people decide whether or not to go for it and invest resources in the race, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much, and best of luck to all of you in the Abyss Grand Prix.